Jake Morrison kept his head down, stylus moving across his tablet as he took notes on Professor Velthok's lecture about atmospheric composition requirements for Class M worlds. Around him, his classmates at the Galactic University whispered in hushed, terrified tones. Not about the lesson, but about the rumors that had been spreading through campus all week. I heard they found evidence of human infiltration in the Outer Rim, hissed Zartich, a crystalline student whose body refracted the classroom's bioluminescent lighting into rainbow patterns. 3 whole colonies went silent after reporting unusual bipedal activity. Jake's stylus paused for just a moment before continuing its steady movement across the screen. His student visa listed him as Jacob Morrison, Terran descent humanoid from Colony 7. Close enough to the truth that the forged documents had passed every security scan. Impossible, clicked Vexini, her mandibles chattering with nervous energy. The Galactic Council has those monsters contained on their prison world. No sane captain would transport such dangerous cargo. Professor Velthok droned on about oxygen-nitrogen ratios, oblivious to the whispered conversation in the back rows. Jake found it grimly amusing that they were literally discussing the atmospheric composition of his homeworld, while his classmates shared horror stories about his species. My clutch brother serves on a survey vessel, contributed Morthke, his gelatinous form rippling with distress. He said they found a human feeding ground, an entire ecosystem stripped bare, nothing left but the bones of consumed prey. Jake bit back a laugh. They were probably talking about a cattle ranch. The worst part, Zara TH continued, her voice dropping to a barely audible whisper, is how they kill. No venom, no natural weapons, no energy discharge. They just persist. They follow their prey for days, sometimes weeks, never stopping, never tiring, until they're. Victims collapse from exhaustion. Several students shuddered at this description. Jake wondered what they'd think if they knew he'd run a marathon last month for fun. I read a classified report, Vexini added, glancing around nervously. They have perfect temperature regulation systems built into their bodies. They could survive in environments that would flash freeze a Zephyrian or boil a Methanorian. And their pain tolerance. She trailed off with a visible shiver. What about it? Prompted Morthike. They can continue functioning with massive tissue damage. Broken bones, severed appendages, catastrophic blood loss. They just keep going, like biological war machines that refuse to acknowledge defeat. Jake unconsciously rubbed the scar on his knee from a skateboarding accident when he was 12. He'd walked 3 miles home with a dislocated kneecap rather than call his parents. At the time, it had just seemed like teenage stubbornness. But surely the containment protocols, Morthike began, are failing, Zara TH interrupted. I heard from a friend in the Communications Guild that they've detected human pack language transmissions throughout 17 sectors. They're not just escaping, they're coordinating. Jake pulled out his phone to check a text from his girlfriend back on Earth. The motion made several nearby students flinch away from what they probably assumed was some kind of weapon or scanning device. Professor Velthok finally noticed the disturbance. Is there something more interesting than atmospheric chemistry happening back there? The whispering stopped instantly. Every student suddenly became fascinated with their note-taking devices. No, sir, Zardich managed. We were just discussing the theoretical survivability of carbon-based life forms on Class XI worlds. Ah yes, the death worlds. Velthok's tentacles writhed with academic enthusiasm. Fascinating topic. Of course, nothing intelligent could. Commander Zixkala watched through her tactical display as another Xerophite battalion dissolved into screaming chaos. The aquatic projectiles from the Hydron war machines cut through their silicon-based forms like acid through paper, each droplet of weaponized water causing catastrophic cellular breakdown in the desert-dwelling species. The Hydrons had turned the tide of the galactic war with a weapon so simple, so abundant, yet so universally feared that entire star systems had surrendered rather than face it. Pure, weaponized water. For most species in the galaxy, water was either toxic, corrosive, or deadly. The crystalline Confederacy's troops would literally melt on contact. The methane collective couldn't survive in its presence. Even species that could tolerate trace amounts in their atmosphere found concentrated H2O to be devastating to their biological systems. Report from the 7th Fleet came a transmission from her